Me, as the minister, also, I have read address and said that I want to meet the Eritrean ambassador. If need being going there, we can go there, because when you see, these are no longer refugees, because they are doing business, they are not paying taxes, they are not paying immigration. So we have to take steps, because if you're a refugee, you must be in the camp. But these are just here in Gaba Road, as you're saying. All the shops there you can see is now written in the Eritrean language, and nobody can read, which we feel also as a government. Yes. We're taking steps on them.
So you are meeting the ambassador?
Yeah, I'm meeting the ambassador. Because it seems there's no war even there. At least for Sudan, for Congo, for other places, you can believe in them. But this one, I am seeing that they're not refugees. Yeah, they're just businessmen.
Okay. So when are you meeting the ambassador?
Anytime, we've still been busy, because since we started, I've not yet had the opportunity. I've just visited one camp. We have 14 camps. I have to visit all of them. So after that is when I'll meet him. I thank all of you very much. We go back.
Calling him Sam. Now these days adding on her, because we've been friends. He's like a father to me. And we've been very, very close at a personal level. And I'm really glad to have you here, because I know you're passionate about most of these issues. Yeah. Honorable colleagues and our dear guests, I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry I came in rushing, because I got this program last evening. Last evening. So I had to adjust my schedule to be here, because the threats, Batoro don't usually threaten. But so when Honorable Bright started threatening, he said, now this has gone beyond, because Batoro are the most humble people. If you get a threat from a Mutoro, take it seriously. You know, these are serious issues. But also, this is a topic very dear to me. It's a topic extremely dear to me, because hosting refugees, some people take it as a form of charity. But it's not. It's just beyond charity. It's, number one, as Africans, we are driven by the spirit of Ubuntu. So to me, hosting a refugee is about Ubuntu. Someone who, because of conditions out of their control, is seeking shelter, is seeking safety, is seeking to live for another day. So if you have the spirit of Ubuntu, you won't be looking at issues of the budget, you won't be looking at issues of space, you'll be looking at issues. Someone is facing, an existential threat. So you have no choice. Even if it's a bed, you can sleep in 5 people. I've told this at the EU, where I've been meeting my colleagues from the European Parliament and the leadership from the EU Commission. I said, we are mainly driven by the spirit of Ubuntu. But that spirit also comes from our history, our checkered history as a country. Our president himself was a refugee, and his family. You know, we have very many colleagues who were refugees. So to transition from a refugee-producing country to a refugee-hosting country is a very, very big achievement for our government and our country. And that's why, honorable colleagues, I'm glad you're here. That's why it is very, very important for us to protect our democratic credentials, our governance institutions, our all-inclusive kind of governance. Because these refugees, most of them, I would say nearly all of them, it is issues to do with governance, unprincipled wars, personal vendetta. If you look at a war like the one in Sudan, for example, it's a very unprincipled war, but look at who is suffering. Ego of us leaders, our own ego. The two protagonists in the conflict in Sudan. It's a matter of ego. Because if you see you're destroying a whole country totally, okay, and you just continue. You don't care about it. You don't care about who dies, because for you, you're guarded. For you, your parishes are still supplied with food. But you say, no, I can't give in to so and so. You push harder. That kind of unprincipled behavior. Some of them, I ask myself whether they even have red blood, whether they are human beings or they are just robots. So as colleagues in the governance sector, as legislators, we must jealously protect our democratic and governance credentials, the achievements the NRM has brought in, so that we don't go back to the dark days of being suppliers of refugees, but rather being suppliers of peace. You know, we have so much peace here. Some of it we've exported to other countries, to the neighboring countries. We are trying to create peace in Somalia. We are giving part of it to the DRC. We are giving part of it to South Sudan. You know, so but any time when you don't protect your democratic credentials very well, you can easily slide back. So I request you, as honorable colleagues who have seen the repercussions, to protect our refugees, our governance structures seriously. And security, to this end, some of it we are taking it for granted. But we don't know, for all the peace and security we have, there are people who are having sleepless nights, ensuring that we remain that peaceful. So that's why, as Parliament, we made it deliberate. We rarely question the defense budget, because we know our history. We know our history and sophisticated systems of protecting our boundaries. The, ADF can come just out of one attack. You can find the whole district or 3 or 4 districts are internally displaced. Those are refugees within their own country, So refugees, it's not about people coming from out. So I urge you, honorable colleagues, that we do support all government efforts aimed at ensuring peace and security of our country and in our country, so that we don't go into wars. Because at any time, even if you are a very, very good kind of leader, you will always face threats of people who don't even appreciate your goodness. The devil will always find a way, and it's always knocking. So it finds a weak state, weak security systems, the devil will penetrate, and you'll find yourself in situations that are difficult. So I want to thank the government for the deliberate and generous open door policy for refugees. It's a challenge. I know in some countries, governments are falling because of immigration, and some of this immigration, by the way, they are calling it immigration, but they are refugees. They are economic refugees. If you move around Europe and you see how many have been displaced by the conflict in Ukraine and all that, you would understand. You saw over 60,000 people crossing from Morocco to the island of Ceuta in Spain, trying to enter, swimming from the ocean, in the ocean, crossing the ocean by swimming. And over 70 died. That was last week. And all of them entered one island of Ceuta just in a short time. So all those are refugees. Refugees are not only about people who are, from my own understanding of Ubuntu, it's not only about people who are facing war. I haven't read so much about the topic to know how you define refugees and all that. You must be having a universal accepted definition, but from my perspective of Ubuntu, someone who swims across the ocean, with the sharks, with what, but insists to cross over to another continent. That's a refugee. It's not an immigrant. It's a refugee. It's maybe facing an existential threat wherever they are. So I appreciate our open door policy. I know it's been tough, but that's why the government had to anchor it in our constitution and the Refugee Act and successive regulations which the ministry has been working on. So, Honourable Minister, the office of the Prime Minister must be congratulated for the good job you've done on the issues of refugees. And we